So that's where my green screen is.
It's literally been in the living room the entire time.
Well, I kinda need to film a video.
Can a girl just relax?
In front of a green screen.
And imagining that you're not here.
Not cool.
I guess we'll just look at the coffee cart then.
Have fun!
Well, this is dumb, isn't it?
Yep. What's going on, Georges and Jar Jars? Welcome back to a very long-awaited VFX tutorial. I know, it's been a while, but we're back. And well, yeah, we're back. If you couldn't tell by the intro, we're going to be talking about green screens today. Or blue screens. I guess it all really depends on if you're working with Oscar the Grouch or Grimace. In any case, the same rules apply. Now I know there are thousands of tutorials out there that can teach you how to key your footage properly, but there is so much more to it than just picking a color, dropping in a background, and bragging to your friends about how you know your shit. Guess what? You don't. You wouldn't be watching this video if you did. So the footage we're working with today is a slow dolly shot that I actually had to stabilize beforehand. Why did I have to do this? Well, film dollies are expensive as and a small table with some furniture sliders did basically the same thing. The first thing we're going to do is plop in a null object and rename that little guy tracking. Now let's track our shot and see what sort of results we get. Don't forget to check the rotation and scale options as well because, you know, motion and shit. Once After Effects is done doing its best David Blaine impression, apply that business to your tracking null and hide it for the time being. Now before we decide to key our footage, we should probably place a garbage bag, garbage mat over our subject. Now that we've made our subject the center of attention, we can full on slap a Keylight effect onto our footage and select the color we want to key out. Nope, just select the green already. Now expand your screen mat settings and set your replace method to source. This is probably gonna add some green spill back onto your subject, but we're going to fix that later. Now set your view to screen mat and adjust your clip black and clip white values until you have a solid luma mat of your subject. If you're using my footage, you might have to crank them a lot since I literally filmed this in my living room. Now change your view back to final result and see if you did a smashing job. Yep, that's a high quality key right there. You know that green spill I was talking about? Bam! Advanced Spill Suppressor. The standard method is pretty boring and wouldn't be able to save you money on your car insurance. That's why we're going to use the Ultra method. Not only can it utilize the color you previously keyed, but it also allows you to instantly grow an 80s style mullet. Now go to your last frame and drop in your background footage. You might actually want to adjust it accordingly to fit the perspective of your subject. That works. Nice. Now parent your background to your tracking null and see if your tracking is as smooth as Kenny G music. So smooth. Now let's add a Lightwrap to your subject because, well, that's just something you should do. Pre-compose the footage of your subject and call it FG for foreground, and pre-compose your background and tracking null and call it BG for Bagel Goblins. Now duplicate your background layer, place one of them below your foreground layer, and name the other one Lightwrap. Now add a set matte effect to your Lightwrap layer, duplicate it, and drop a Gaussian blur effect in between them so it feels extremely uncomfortable. Set both mattes to your foreground layer and check invert matte on the top one. Now crank your Gaussian blur effect until your background starts wrapping around your subject and change the blending mode to overlay. If it's a little too harsh, you can always fiddle with the opacity until you're done being a perfectionist. Now out how to refine soft matte to your foreground layer because it could really use it. I'm not going to go too in depth with the effect, so here's the shortened version because I'm lazy. Turn off calculate edge details, set your chatter reduction to smoother, increase the radius of your decontamination, and mess around with the other settings, or do whatever the hell you want. The last thing you need to do is add some color correction to your background and foreground layers, and possibly add some blur keyframes to both because that's just how the real world works. If you want, you can add some overall color correction and motion blur, but if you just want to be done with it, then just be done with it, you quitter. So yeah, that's working with green screen footage for you. Sometimes it's easy to work with, and sometimes you want to smash your face off your keyboard. I also know that the background lacks any sort of dimension for this example because we're just using 2D tracking with 2D footage. There are ways to make it look more realistic, but that would require you to either do some projection mapping of your footage or completely build out a 3D environment to use with some 3D tracking data. In any case, you probably learned some valuable lessons today, so there's that. Or not, I don't know. I wouldn't listen to me either. I'm just a basic bro who does VFX and occasionally enjoys a frappuccino.
Hello there.